What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So we have the Ember and Rhino Prime Resurgence going for the rest of the year, and I thought it could be a good time to get out some refresher builds on Rhino, Ember, and all of their weapons. So let's get right into it. Before we do though, make sure you sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads. And yeah, there's a bunch of Prime Resurgence going right now. I think we still have Harrow and Necros going. And then like next week we have, I think it's Mesa and Limbo or something like that. So tons and tons of Prime Resurgence going on. But yeah, this one's going for the rest of the year. So it's pretty important to make sure you know what's going on with this one. So reviewing what we are going to be talking about today. And yes, I will be showing no Riven builds for all this stuff. And you know what? A nice little bonus today. I get some comments saying, hey man, why do you gotta put Nourish on every build? Guess what? We got Nourish builds and non-Nourish builds for you guys today, so you have plenty of options. Alright, so we got Ember Prime being unvaulted for the first time in a while, and Ember actually got some smallish buffs with her coming back. They actually made it where some of these abilities have less annoying energy costs, and I believe her 4 has more heat procs on it now too. But the main thing here is that the Fire Blast ability can remove enemy armor, and with the Healing Flame augment, this will give you overguard per enemy hit. So pretty good there. And then she's also got a damage reduction ability with her second ability, Immolation, which when this fire meter goes up, it will start draining your energy pool over time, so be careful about that. To increase the fire meter, you can cast your first ability, Fireball, or your fourth ability, Inferno, and to drain the fire meter so it's not draining as much, you can cast Fire Blast to drain your fire meter. Now, as far as this character, she is not as meta as frames like Saren or, like, you know, other nuking characters like Mesa. She's really not that meta. The buffs were nice, but still, I'm not really using her for in everyday content. As you can see, she's holding the Glaive Prime, and the Glaive Prime is still meta and extremely good. So we'll be showing a no Riven build for the Glaive Prime. Why is the thing so good? Well, it's an exploding melee, and on the heavy attack, it has a Force Slash proc, which means in an AoE, it's a Force Slash proc AoE. You can use this weapon to level to one-shot level 10,000 enemies. Although I will be showing you a build that's meant for normal levels today, but we can just flash level 10,000 build on the screen as well. For the pistol with Ember, you got the Sicarus Prime, and not to spoil anything, but their rumor on the street is that there might be a new Incarnon for the Sicarus Prime in like November or October or something like that. So maybe keep an eye out on that. Now, as far as the base stat of the Sicarus Prime, it's not too bad. This thing used to be a lot better back in the day, but we're power crept, basically. So you got 25% crit chance, 2x multi, and a 20% status chance. Now we have the full auto settings. This thing is full auto. You just hold on the trigger and it fires like crazy fast. But yeah, once it gets to the Incarnon, it will be a lot stronger. But right now, it's just kind of like an older pistol that looks really nice and has nice sound effects. For Rhino's items, we got Rhino Prime himself. This is a really old frame and a very good frame. I haven't played him for a while. He actually has some really good changes nowadays that you might want to try out. So some big changes that he had. His ability Iron Skin now gives you Overguard instead of whatever it was doing before. So like, you know, Overguard, synergies, stuff like that. Easier to tell how much Overguard and how much Iron Skin you actually have now too, because it's on your buff bar. Roar is the OG buff ability. Now everybody realizes this ability actually buffs ability damage. So if you are on a team with a Saren, or even an Ember for that matter, this Roar ability will buff their ability damage. It'll also technically buff your ability damage too. Additionally, since we're looking at actual Rhino here and not the helmet version of Roar, this is twice the power of the normal, or of the helmet version of Roar. This is twice the power of it. So if you have a Rhino on your team, you're going to be doing big damage if you hit you with that Roar with a good power strength build. We'll be showing a good power strength build today. And for the final ability, Rhino Stomp, AoE Stun, but the thing is, with the Reinforcing Stomp Augment mod, you refresh your Iron Skin per enemy hit. So that's a great combo, and we'll be showing that today with 2 different builds. The weapons for Rhino, we got the Boltor Prime, and yes, this does have an Incarnon that makes it more slash-focused, and we're going to be going for a slash-focused build today, but you could do builds like Corrosive and Viral as well. The Incarnon form is a multi-shot slash, like, shotgun rifle, basically. And then as far as the last weapon, this could be the most I'm probably not going to even show a full build on this one. The Ankyros Prime, it's just not very good. It's like some punching weapons, pretty generic, mostly impact focused, but they got good crit stats. Yeah, I don't ever use these. I used to use this as a stat stick for Korra Prime, but now that we have Incarnon stat sticks, Alright, so let's get into some gameplay and some, talking about what's so good about these. Oh, but before we do, though, their relics are here, and the relic that has the Glaive Prime relic is the Neo G6 relic. This has the Glaive Prime blueprint and some other stuff, too. Rhino, Sicarus, it's a pretty good relic, honestly. Rhino and Sicarus and all that kind of stuff. I believe Ember is going for more plat right now than Glaive as far as effort level. So let's start first off with the Rhino build and the Boltor build today. So I'll be showing I'll show you a nourished build and a different build. So as far as the non-nourished build, we've got, what is this ability called? Parasitic Armor. So it's a weird one for sure, but this is one of the ways to get the most overguard in all of Warframe for Rhino. So what the ability does is that we sacrifice our maximum shields to increase our armor, and the amount of overguard that Rhino gets is scaled off of how much armor he has. So we get a ton of armor with the Parasitic Armor ability. And in the gameplay footage in the background, I have 70,000 overguard when I use the right reinforcing stomp. However low my overguard was, it will be refreshed to nearly full, depending on how many enemies I hit. So you can just run around with Rhino and not to care about anything. This can work with basically any type of weapon. And since we have Roar, we can really increase our slash procs, blast procs, toxin procs, all that kind of DOT stuff. So let's go ahead and show the build now. And yeah, it's quite nice. Now, I usually use a Riven. The footage you're seeing right now does not have a Riven because I want to make a no Riven build today. But as far as going over what we have here, we have 5 power strength shards on Rhino. And you could technically go for blue shield max shards to get a little bit more iron skin. But for me, I don't want to just only be focusing on overguard numbers. We want to increase our roar percentage too. With this much power strength, we have 192% roar damage increase. And our reinforcing stomp doesn't really get skill with power strength, but we're going to get all of our overguard pretty much instantly. Now, the amount of overguard you get scales with both your armor and how much damage you're taking from enemies. So if you really want to get big overguard numbers, basically be in front of a bunch of enemies when you're casting it. Now, as far as the build, I did tell you that Parasitic Armor is going to sacrifice your shields to give you more armor, so we're going to be running Prime Redirection. If you don't have this mod, it's really good. It's not only just good on Rhino, it's good on other frames too. So we want to increase our shield capacity a lot, and then we want to sacrifice those shields to this to get a bunch of armor for Iron Skin. Now, as far as the rest of the stuff, Power Strength, Armor mod, Energy Max mod, technically don't need this, but I mean, we got 155 energy cost 4th ability, so you probably do want to have it. A little bit of range up here to make it so we have more range on our reinforcing stomp. We go from 25 meters to 28 meters. You technically could put more strength up there if you wanted to, or a different Exilus mod. He doesn't need Prime Surefooted because he's got Overguard, so who cares about that? And I wanted Arcane Energized to have an easier time just sustaining energy pools. Multi Augmented for more Roar power strength. And if you want even more power strength, there are other Arcanes too. Just search Strength. If you have any of these, you can put them on there. Arcane Ice Storm for freezing enemies. Arcane Power Ramp, you're just casting different abilities. And Bolt Vigor if you're just want an easy 45% just from casting an Operator ability. This is a very good build for just, being very tanky and having a lot of strength. Now for the Nourish build, it's pretty similar, but it will be a little bit, it won't be as much overguard, but you'll have Nourish for even more damage. So viral damage increase in your weapons with Nourish, and then Roar to increase overall damage. It's going to be very good with those slash procs we're going to be dropping from the Boltor Prime. So yeah, very similar build right here. This is the Nourish build, but the one I showed in the footage is the Parasitic Armor for technically more overguard. Moving on to the Boltor Prime Incarnon. Let's go ahead and show the Incarnons here. Now, like I said, there's multiple ways to run this. I usually have a punch through Riven, so I prioritize punch through on something about this. Although this stat right here does have, when you have a channel ability active, you get punch through from that. It's not going to always be active, though. The other option is increase base damage by 2 and ammo efficiency by 5 for 5 stacks with 3 times. It's technically less damage. I wouldn't bother with that one. But as far as the perks, we got Hunter's Mantra, Rapid Reinforcement, and Commodore's Fortunes, giving a bunch of extra crit chance. The other options there are pretty good too. You got Hybrid Stat or Fully Status Chance. I decided to go for full crit because the Boltor Prime already has a lot of status chance. Now, again, like I said, the build can be changed quite a bit, but we've got Hunter Editions on here, and we've got also just Prime Shred. Now, my Riven usually has multi-shot, punch through, crit chance minus ammo, so we get, a lot of things that we like for Hunter Editions builds. But yeah, no Riven today, so Prime Bang of the Grenadier, because we're fighting Grenadier. Hammer Shot for more status chance and crit damage. We have 88% status chance with this setup, and on the Incarnon form, we got 52 per projectile, and then we've got Galvanized Aptitude to give us more status chance, and on kill, we get increased damage. And other stuff is just pretty standard for this. Prime Shred to make it where we can hit multiple enemies at a time. Very nice in my opinion. If you took this off for another fire rate mod, you'd have more fire rate, but you wouldn't be able to hit multiple enemies. And yes, if I didn't have a Riven on this thing, I'd probably put on an Exilus mod of Vigilance Supplies, just to increase the crit tier from orange to red, and from yellow to orange sometimes. Very nice weapon. But yeah, definitely not the most meta. It can be fun though. There's plenty of other builds you could do on this, guys. Such as a viral build. Actually, this isn't even a viral, but I was messing with some stuff on there. I had a corrosive build on here earlier. There's plenty of ways you can mess with this. It's not too hard to switch this around. And for the Ankyros Prime, again, like I said, I'm not going to really show a build of the Ankyros Prime. This is actually the Ankyros Normal. Now, as far as the difference between the Ankyros Normal and the Ankyros Prime, you know, you have a straight-up upgrade, basically. But also, this is a bad weapon, so I wouldn't really recommend it. But for the Ankyros Normal, what I'd normally run is a Korra stat stick build. You can see this is quite old here, and quickening definitely was not used either. But yeah, it's not really worth investing into, guys. Even with a good Riven, it's not going to be really that worth it. Just go for like the Firax, Wraith, and Karnon, or something like that. Now, as far as what I recommend, Rhino and the Boltor, I definitely would recommend Rhino and the Boltor. They're quite nice weapons for, you know, Steel Path missions. Rhino's a nice, like, workhorse frame for being, like, you know, nice and mindless. You just walk around being really tanky. With the build we've shown today, you can take care of multiple enemies at a time if they're in the hallway like this. And you're dropping so many slash proxy enemies with Roar, it's really nasty. Like, one trigger pull, like 700k plus slash proc, that's to take care of most enemies you're going to ever see in Warframe. Let's move over to Ember. Now, I do have some recent Ember videos on YouTube if you want to watch an extensive guide on it, because this is not a guide on Ember or Rhino. It's a kind of like a Resurgence review with a little bit of build sprinkled in there. Now, if you want to watch a full Ember build, like I said, go watch those previous videos. But yeah, for the one we got today, I'll be showing you the build from the level 10,000 Ember, and I'll also be showing another build just for, you know, general mission gameplay. As far as the shards, I've got my Ember. I've got 2 casting speed shards, two power strength shards, and 1 equilibrium violet Tau Forge shard for giving us energy from health orbs, and vice versa. Now, as far as Ember, she did get reworked a little bit, and here's the build I was going to be using for like just normal low-level stuff. You've got Exothermic and Healing Flame. These 2 augments are quite nice, although Exothermic is not technically needed. We drop meteors on the enemies, and if they die while affected by the meteor, they have a chance to drop an energy orb. Not a super powerful effect. You could definitely throw on some other mods in that slot if you prefer. Maybe like, you know, Energy Nexus for constant energy. Or maybe, you know, another Augur mod or another health mod or something like that. It's really not needed Exothermic, but I want to try it on here. This is not really my go-to Ember build either, so it's going to be up to you if you want to run this one. But yeah, Roar from Rhino is going to be our Helmet ability, giving a damage increase to our heat procs. And we've got Archon Vitality giving us double heat procs on her abilities. This could be kind of nice on unarmored enemies, and with Fire Blast, you can roof their armor, so it's quite nice. Now, this is not my, like I said, this is not my standard Ember build. My standard Ember build is this one. It is a very ability-heavy casting setup. What we're doing here, we're fully relying on Healing Flame Augment and Catalyzing Shields. So when our shields break, we have when our Overguard breaks, we have Shield Gate to back up. And then with Brief Respite, whenever we cast ability, we get Shield Gate. And then with Healing Flame, we get Overguard Gate. So we're getting Overguard and Overshield by casting her 3. That being said, it is very, very ability spam focused. So if we don't have Overguard, we're in trouble. So you need to be casting this ability constantly. That's where Nourish is great, giving you a multiplier on all energy. And with Energize, you're going to be getting like your entire energy pool in 1 proc. So if you want to change this around, be my guest. Like I said, I have a full video guide on this build for level 10,000 on my channel if you want to check it out. But yeah, it's quite nice, and it makes Ember feel pretty tanky, actually. Moving on to the weapons for Ember. Now, I haven't used the Sicarus Prime in a while, and I am going to be rolling a Riven for this eventually because of the, you know, potential Incarnon on the way. But for right now, we've got a Corrosive and Heat build. And I'd say the main issue with this thing is probably actually the reload speed feeling pretty bad. So let's actually take off Deadhead for Merciless right now. Not going to be a huge increase to reload speed, but better than nothing. So the big thing here is that we've got Corrosive and Heat. So Corrosive is going to remove enemy armor, I think up to like, what, 80%? And then Heat procs will remove 50% of the remaining armor. Now, if I were you, and you want to really fully invest in this, I would say probably take off Scorch for Prime Heated Charge. It's a lot more damage. It reduces our status chance, but this is a burst weapon anyway, so you're getting lots of procs out in the first place. So I'd recommend running this. It'd probably take another form or 2 to fit that on there. And yeah, when the Incarnon comes out, we don't know what the Incarnon form will be, but if I had to guess, it'd be probably similar to the burst one where you make this like a full auto, hard-hitting like machine gun, basically. But yeah, pretty nice pistol at the end of the day. Very nice looking, too. So I'd recommend picking it up just because the Incarnon... I mean, to be fair, the Incarnon will come out and then you'll have time to get it because this is here for like 90 days or whatever. So not that big of a deal. And for the amazing Glaive Prime, I have chosen to not show the Riven build right now. And actually, what I've been running... I was messing with this build earlier. It seemed pretty good. Now, we've got a 2x Duplicate build. Now, what Melee Duplicate does, on base critical hit, a chance to... have a second attack strike, second strike of the attack that's only a yellow crit. On this build, we sometimes get orange crits, so that would not apply to orange crits at all. But I want to make a nice, easy build for people to just pick up and just go out and kill stuff with. So, what that means is when we get a yellow crit, we will double apply damage. And I think it double applies slash procs too. Not that you'd really need the double slash proc, but yeah. This is not an endurance build, really. This is a normal levels build. Melee Elementalist, the new mod, increases status damage, and this thing has a 4 slash proc, so it's great with that. We got Prime Pressure Point for overall damage, to increase our slash proc. And the rest of the stuff is just kind of whatever. If you want to make it only yellow crit, you could technically take off Sacrificial Steel and put on a different mod there. But, you know, if we're not getting this to proc on every hit, I'm not too worried about it, because if we orange crit, that guy's probably dead anyway, to be honest. So that's my low-level build. Now my level 10,000 Glaive build is right here. And the differences here are going to be pretty immense. The biggest thing is going to be the Arcane difference. We've got Melee Crescendo on the level 10,000 build. On Finisher Kill, gain 6 additional combo for the rest of the mission. What that means is when we get a Finisher, we are going to be having, you know, permanent combo for the rest of the mission. That means we can do 12x, Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds, heavy attacks, back to back to back, and it makes killing level 10,000 enemies with one hit on this thing really, really easy. The Glaive Riven is going to be critical chance, critical damage, and heavy attack efficiency. Heavy attack efficiency lets you refill your 12x a lot faster, although it's not technically needed if you just want to wait around for like another second or two to actually get your 12x refilled. Because yeah, Crescendo does, it might be permanent combo for the rest of the mission, but you still need to refill it after you do a heavy attack, which is kind of annoying. And since we have some room on the build now, we have a Prime Smite Orokin. Of course, you could change out this Prime Smite Grenier for fighting Grenier, but usually Orokin are the ones I'm fighting in the Void Cascade missions, and of course, the Thrax enemies can become corrupted, so you can, you know, get the Bane mod on them as well. So that's going to be basically my overview of all the Prime Resurgence stuff that will be here at the end of the year. As far as what's a good place to farm Aya, there are quite a few locations I'd recommend, but the easiest and most reliable one I'd say is probably going to be doing the Brute Force method on Deimos. Involve the Brute Force bounty. There is a much more efficient method, but it is very annoying to set up. I might make a video on it eventually, but it's just so annoying stuff, I don't know about that. There is the Cetus bounty. I think it's called a Capture the Grenier Commander or something like that. Now, the reason this one's less reliable than Brute Force is that you have to re-roll the bounty steps to get it. You need to have like the fastest bounty steps, and the bounty steps are not guaranteed. On Deimos Brute Force, they're guaranteed bounty steps. On the plains, they're not. You have to like go and do the bounty, and then once you get to the step where it's not the step you want, you have to go back to town and re-roll it. It's really annoying, but maybe I'll make a video on it soon, guys. I just don't want to make a video showing this strat and recommend it to people and have them wasting their time re-rolling the bounty. I would feel personally responsible for people wasting their time, so I'm not going to really do that, but we'll see. So overall, good Resurgence. The Ayas are worth getting. Of course, you can also get Ayas from you know, Syndicate Relic packs too. It's RNG as well. Let's see if we get any of these 3 packs right here. Yeah, so you can get them from here too, but it's, you know, it's the same chance as like any other. So we didn't even get any there. So it's technically RNG, guys. So hope you guys found this video fun, helpful. Good Resurgence stuff. And yeah, I will be probably back on stream like in a day or two. I'm still like, you know, on air quotes medical leave or whatever I'd call it right now, where I'm not having a great time and my power was up all day yesterday. So it's a super miserable day, but hey, you know what? Hopefully it turns around very soon. Hopefully you guys found this interesting and helpful, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.